Grey Wardens thank you for your aid, Inquisitor.
What are you doing in Crestwood?
A warden named Stroud is wanted for questioning. We heard he'd passed through here, but the villagers knew nothing. They have troubles enough.
What have you been told about this rogue warden?
Warden Commander Clarel ordered his capture. I can say no more than that. I hope Sir Stroud comes with us peacefully. I trained under him for a time. He's a good man, I'm sure of that.
Will you stay to fight the undead here?
My orders forbid it. Crestwood was only a detour. Is that all the aid we can offer these people? If the Inquisition can help, I beg you to do what you can. The villagers have already lost too many.
Farewell.
Farewell.
Okay, that doesn't sound like wardens
Undead
right
by
there.
the gate.
I'm going to somewhat paraphrase a lot of this from here on out. You know, the menial wandering and my almost obsessive, compulsive need to stop and pick every single herb and rock and things like that that I can find and look in every corner for loot and stuff. I'll try to edit out as much of that as I can. But I'll try to keep the landmarks in there and codexes that I find and stuff. Codexes are cool because they will give you hints and insight into the lore and the story that you might not find just from playing through. I think a lot of things are still up in the air as far as Dragon Age is concerned. It was the same way with Mass Effect, and one needed to gather the codexes and put two and two together a lot of times to clarify things. In fact, you might have to gather a lot of evidence to prove a particular point because it was left slightly vague in the story. But, you know, human history is really no different. There's a lot of vagaries that, you know, people will fill in the blanks based on what they understand, what they gather. It's bad when people's motives get involved in filling in those blanks because they favor one side over another, so they color history certain shades. And you'll find that here in the codexes also. And in the things that people say, you know, it's pertaining to how they view things a lot as opposed to just fact.
Judith live in the village while this is going on. Maker, if something happens...
Are you looking for someone named Judith?
Oh, was I speaking out loud? Judith lives outside the village. I asked her to hide here when the undead came, but she wouldn't hear it.
Why wouldn't she hide where it's safer?
Likes her space, she says. I told Judith my house was big enough. Me and the boy could sleep in the barn if she wanted room. She turned me down.
Good day to you.
And to you.
Now, speaking for myself, you'll hear me make assumptions and gather what I know of the game so far and things that might be based on what I see. You know, not necessarily fact, but I'll throw them out there, especially for someone else who knows things I don't know, to kind of take that and work with it and either refute it or put it with what they already know, or just to say, hey, you know, that's a thought, you know, and then to maybe investigate it a little bit and as everyone plays along. And, you know, I mean, I know they even have, like, lore books, stories. I think they have, like, a comic book series, too, or something. But things like that you know, can give you insights and little hints and tips. Stuff that you wouldn't hear or find anywhere else, necessarily in the game. Like, even stuff like this, like a random message board. It'll tell you someone went somewhere, and that particular person went there in such a way, and to go do something that will shed some light on something. Like, why would they go over there when they should have been over here? And, wow, something's not right. And so a lot of times you can figure out what is by finding out what isn't, you know. Because a lot of things people say in here aren't true. And that's, I guess, a lot like real life, too. Sad to say, but so it is. But, here's the mayor's house, where she has the nicest digs, right?
See how they do.
The Inquisitor? Oh, Mayor Dedrick of Crestwood Village. At your service, despite everything. Are you here to stop the undead?
We are, right? We're not just going to leave them.
The undead are appearing because of a rift in the Fade. How can I get to it?
The light in the lake. It's coming from the caves below Old Crestwood. Darkspawn flooded it 10 years ago during the Blight. Wiped out the village, killing the refugees we took in.
I saw a dam. If we use it to drain the lake, I can get to that Fade Rift.
Drain the... There must be some other way.
Your people are frightened, and they're tired. Let us help.
You'd have to evict the bandits in the old fort to use the dam. I can't ask you to risk your life.
You're risking the village's safety if you spurn my help. Or is someone else coming?
No, they aren't. This key unlocks the gate to the dam controls past the fort. The rift must be in the caves under Old Crestwood. But, Inquisitor, I would not linger there.
Tell me about your village.
It's seen happier days. We farm what we can, trade with the merchants who travel the King's Road. We only want peace, your worship. It's all we've ever wanted.
What can you tell me about the bandits camped in the fort?
The highwaymen, thugs and thieves. They make a living raiding caravans on the King's Road. When the dead rose from the lake, the bandits killed the old gamekeeper in the fort and took it for themselves. We could have saved people if we'd been able to hide there instead of in our homes.
I'm surprised a town as small as Crestwood outlasted the Blight.
It was a close thing. The Darkspawn followed a band of refugees running from the Blight. Some of the refugees they were very ill. But we took them in. They perished when the Darkspawn flooded Old Crestwood.
How did Darkspawn manage that?
They found the dam's controls, wrecked them. All I remember is the refugees and villagers screaming as they drowned. And now, they return to us.
Until later.
Of course.
Okay, Darkspawn flooding the area. Doesn't sound like something Darkspawn would do, but you know, he's talking about all we want is peace, and there's a lesson which the world does not want to learn, and it's led to more war than all the wars that they try to prevent, those that talk quote-unquote peace, right? The price of peace is war, right? Peace is not just had. Peace isn't the given with war taking its place. No, war is the cost. Peace is won with guns. Sorry, anybody who doesn't like that, it's still the truth, because you have to factor in this one thing, is that there are assholes out there, all right? And assholes aren't going to be reasoned with. They don't care about your fancy speeches and your ideals. Your ideals mean nothing to them as they rape your women and bash your children up against the rocks and take your land and do their thing. Assholes do what they do. Okay, so peace, if you want it for yourself, it's earned. And just wanting it to kind of happen, well, yeah, it doesn't. That's just a life lesson. Let's, now, who's this up here all by herself?
I am Sister Vaughan. Does the mayor finally plan to drain the lake? I must find someone to retrieve the remains of those lost there.
Have I interrupted a funeral service?
We lost many friends in the first attack. There will be endless time to mourn. The fear is how many more will be added to the pyre.
You want to exhume the corpses at the bottom of the lake?
They were the Maker's children. Their earthly bodies deserve better than abandonment in a mire. A funeral service will help put living minds at ease.
What did you mean by finally drain the lake?
The undead returned, only after the light in the lake appeared. If we want to stop them, we must investigate. But the mayor sent no one at all. I fear he thinks that emptying the waters would unleash even more monsters on us.
Until later.
Andraste guide you.
Alright, so the Fade Rift is apparently empowering these corpses to start walking again. Alright, and we know that's a demon type thing. We learned that from Redcliffe in Origins. The demons can reanimate the dead and send them forth as soldiers, essentially. And the more people that die, the bigger their army gets. It's kind of like a win-win for the demons, I guess, as far as that goes. But, alright, so the Fade Rift is empowering the corpses of the dead refugees, villagers, whatever, to get up and walk again, and they're assaulting those that are still living, and yeah, well, that's just a problem all the way around.
More ruffians. As if we don't get enough from the fort. Bastards with swords, lording it over us poor folk.
Alright, this is pretty cool. Apparently, what I gathered right here is that these refugees, or these townspeople, just got tired of it, so they evicted the bandits from their cave and took up residence right here. Probably figured they're safer here than they are in town. Town getting attacked every 2 seconds. They're probably right, but I think that's pretty funny. It's like, we're not going to have it anymore. The bandits been ambushing people right here on the road, so they just took their road back. And once again, that's the price of peace, is a little war. Get rid of the assholes, and the only people who have a problem with that are the ones that want to defend the assholes. But the peace-loving people that just want to go out and mind their own business, sometimes they have to pick up a stick and shake it at the baddies, get the baddies out of their hair, and then they can go on to live the life they want to lead without the baddies. But as long as the baddies are there, then yeah, it's going to be what it is, regardless of how you think it should be. How it really is assholes do asshole things, and until you get rid of them, you have assholism reigning supreme until you deal with it. Right on. All right, so this is like very reminiscent of the Storm Coast, right? Kind of like a cross between the hinterlands and the Storm Coast. Still awesome the way they did this. I mean, the grass and the plants and all that, it's just like, they just look real. In a lot of ways, sometimes, you know, you can mistake it for a photo. I mean, seriously. I really like it anyway. Alright, so we have 2 things to do. We can go evict the bandits from their fort. I wonder if this will be similar to the fort in the Western Approach. And then we need to go find our warden, Hawk's friend. Apparently all the other wardens are out to get this warden. But we've already heard twice that he's a good guy, and he's trustworthy, so why are all the other wardens out after him? Strange. And why wouldn't there, essentially, I mean, I understand they're looking for this warden, and sure, but to be directed not to help the people here?
There's the keep the mayor talked about, and the bandits.
That just doesn't sound right.
Good defenses. They'll be hard to pry out.
It'd be hard to pry out, but once we do, we can take this for ourselves. I would think. Oh, Mabari. Mabari guard dogs. They're like little mini tanks with teeth. Literally. Alright, let's get the archers. Now, archers are just order of importance. They're first. Well, they're not doing the damage, though. Well, that wasn't too terribly bad anyway. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and get rid of it quick. We might go ahead and try to figure out a way to get this Ring of Pain involved with the Berserk mode here, Rampage. Work these two together. You know, at first I thought it was kind of a bad thing, but now I'm thinking it's really a good thing that they've nerfed Rampage and Dragon Rage, because I really wasn't wanting to use Dragon Rage at first anyway. But I was like, you know, I mean, if there's just more upside than downside, even if it's going to take another learning curve, you know, kind of relearning my fighting style and, you know, picking different button combinations and kind of restructuring my timing and everything. because you know, with of course Dragon Rage, you're losing a good deal of health, and you get a you know, bonus damage for the health you're missing, and plus you can get you know, a little extra damage overall, and I believe criticals even count and everything else. So I mean, there was plus side, but then the micromanaging of your health overall, and you know, the higher the difficulty, I think the less room there is for error, so to speak, in fighting like that. But still willing to look at it. But now, no, because with Rampage now, along with the fact that you don't absorb health, well, they say that's kind of what's this? Sad. Oh, that's what I need for that sad weapon schematic I found in the Exalted Plains. I think I needed 3 or 4 of those. Well, once we're able. But so it's from breaking down doors. That's how you get sad splinters to make your sad weapon. There's got to be something. It's got to be a humor thing about this. Well, it'd be awesome if they just give me just this fantastic weapon. But if it's a banana on a stick, I'm probably not going to use it. Just saying. That's just me. But anyway, all right. So yeah, they make it to where if you use Rampage at the same time as Dragon Rage, that it kind of nullifies the health loss to where you don't gain or lose any, right? But if you use Rampage by itself, you don't get any health gain back, but you still get the damage buff from health missing, and you're going to lose it less fast if you're not literally giving it away with Dragon Rage. And so I'm thinking, you know, with Ring of Pain active, and we figure out a way to mitigate that stamina loss. And once we can do that, then with Ring of Pain active, you're talking about essentially that 50% increase in damage. Okay, that Dragon Rage gives you, you essentially get almost that. 'Cause you get 30% for Rampage, and you get the 15% for having the Ring of Pain going, and then an additional 1% for every 1% missing health. So you can get another. Oh, sorry about that, Sarah. I don't know why I did that, but you're talking about a pretty good buff, and it'd be more manageable, I would think. And it might even be worth, you know, just jumping in there, especially if you're going to go in against a mob of really high-powered, high-level enemies. Go in there with a regeneration potion active, and hopefully just kind of break even and lose enough health to give yourself a good damage bonus, but not lose so much that you, of course, die. But even then, you know, if my mage is set up right, run around with a 2-mage system, talking about getting resurrected, you know, almost instantly, even if I do. You've got 2 mages around. Revive is pretty much available most of the time, and it's almost instant. You know, if you have that favorited with your mages, and you don't have them doing too much, and they always have a healthy mana pool available, then they're going to be able to revive you almost instantly. With 1 mage, not so much. I mean, it's still there, but when the whole load on them is to cast all the barriers and, you know, lay down, you know, Winter's Grasp and stuff, or whatever offensive spells you have assigned to them, and then have the, whatever it is, 65 or 75 mana required to cast Revive, sometimes it takes a second. And I think the AI in that situation alone, could probably get a little confused at times and be stuck on Barrier as the primary, because I'm going to favorite that also, because that's their primary job. So I could see having a single mage system where Barrier can kind of cross Revive, and might not get picked up quite as often as you'd like. Hopefully it's not an issue all the time. Anyway, I mean, you prefer not to die at all, and not to get knocked out, period, but it's going to happen, so... Must be ready when it does. All right, let's see. I just saw like 1,200 pop up in the blue numbers for, you know, because I have frost on my weapon, right? I just saw 1,200 pop up on that. Did it critical my element? I mean, all right, it triggered my element. Did it give me a critical on that? Like, is that a whole separate calculation? In other words, is it possible to hit a critical on your element and then hit a critical on your main weapon damage also on top of that? Like, you know, I can pull off a couple grand, you know, or more, you know, 3, 4, 5 grand or whatever. On criticals with my weapon, sometimes if everything's just stacked right, okay? And that means I could technically hit a critical with my element also. Imagine that. Imagine the kind of numbers you could pull off if you could get regular criticals like that. Which is exactly what I have in mind for my character. I think we're going to... figuring on the synergy with this build, in that losing some health is beneficial towards the damage bonus. And, you know, trying to manage that is not lean, you know, just on strength and constitution, on my, like, armor and weapon upgrades, but lean more towards critical chance, critical damage, cunning, dexterity when I can get it.
Payday, yeah? Let's get some merchants in your new house.
Yeah, right on, Sarah. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. Alright, so we get this fort for ourselves. Looks like there's a lot of little nooks and crannies to explore, too. But anyway, so going more towards just damage, DPS. And I think our survivability will be up there, especially when we start getting some really good armors, you know? And there's even ways to cross-craft armors to where I can make, you know, if I like something that a mage is wearing, my best schematic is a mage schematic, you can make it with load something wool.
We should drain the lake. The mayor said the dam controls were through the fort.
It is. Alright, so we have all the amenities of home here. Sweet. Look around some.
Welcome, Inquisitor. My name is Charter. Leleana's eyes and ears, especially in this place. I'll have some information for you once my man Butcher finds us. He's running late.
Did Sister Nightingale tell you why she wanted agents here?
We lie on the main road between Denerim and Valroyaux. Couriers stop here all the time. For what they're paid, some have surprisingly loose tongues.
When's the spy named Butcher supposed to arrive?
Half hour ago, by the south gate. I hope he's only delayed. Butcher's last message swore he had secrets for us worth 10 times his weight in gold.
What's happening in Crestwood?
The roads are nearly deserted. Too many undead keep rising from the lake.
What's happening in Crestwood?
The roads are nearly deserted. Too many undead keep rising from the lake.
I should be going.
No, so that's about all she's going to say. I wonder if checking back with some of these, what would you call them, keep stewards or whatever? These captains of the guard or whoever it is that's running the keep while we're gone. If you can come back like much later in the game and talk to them, if it won't open up some new dialogue or maybe even some new side quests or something like that. I think there's so much in here that you could check back on, and trying to keep track of all of it seems basically impossible. But things that if you bother to come back and look much later in the game, or you just happen to be heading that way and you say, hey, I'm going to go talk to that person, hadn't talked to him in a while, and wind up discovering some amazing side quest that leads to some, you know, super uber powerful weapon or armor or something or item or, you know, whatever. But I can see them throwing a lot of that in here too, so that there, you know, each playthrough there'll always be some new discovery. And that to me is what makes the really big RPGs like this great. Is, you know, each playthrough is just a little different. It just never quite plays out the same, and there's so much content here that, you know, it's impossible, I think, to even see half of it really on one playthrough, no matter how thorough you are.
Ah, yes. We're just catching up with each other after an assignment.
That part's fine. Just don't lock me out of my own keep.
No, Inquisitor. It won't happen again. I swear it.
Nose a little brown, Reeve.
Quiet you.
Yeah, right? But, you know, the scouts, there's kind of a solitary bunch. Their own little private club, so to speak. At least most of them are loyal to us. Although we heard Liliana mention a traitor, but he was dealt with swiftly, which lets the rest of the ranks know that you're not going to do that and get away with it. We're not just going to lock you up and feed you free for the rest of your life while you wait some trial. We're just going to get you out of the game whatsoever. This is wartime. We don't have time for that. No keeping you alive at the expense of the taxpayers, right? You get people dead, you die, and then guess what? No more people are dead because of you. Problem solved.
Someone needs to deal with the last of Crestwood's highwaymen.
Who has time?
If we clear the bandits out, or travelers, more travelers. More news for the Nightingale.
Good point, but I've got a code to unscramble if you want to know who killed Convoyeur last week.
Are the highwaymen still in Crestwood?
Yes, your worship. Now that their fort is gone, the bandits are ambushing travelers.
Crestwood won't stop them either. The town's still reeling from the undead.
Who would be traveling here, knowing that undead are creeping up out of the lake? I guess if you got to get from point A to point B, you can't always choose the road you take to get there. Alright, so we have our fort. And, oh, look at that. Sweet. Free lightning room. I wonder if that's set loot or if that's just random. And come down here under the keep, and we have caves and tunnels. It's pretty cool. Of course, it's impossible not to see where these things go, right? I think that's a spider of a bigger variety this time. Yeah, most definitely. I think the spiders with the queen spider thing, something that's just going to take place in every Dragon Age game, actually. Had it in Origins, even an ambush in Origins, I remember, involved the queen spider, and then you had, of course, Dragon Age 2, and the huge one down in the Deep Roads. Of course, we see one here. Right, now, I don't know what the relevance of this cave is, but it's ours. Can't get out there. Be cool if this led to some super secret area or something. Okay, well, that's... Loot is good enough. I'll take that. Iron bark, that's actually a master crafting material. I wonder if that's set loot. I don't know. Anyway, this was directly under the keep. Just looking around, trying to be thorough, and came across the ladder. I don't see any... deep mushrooms are pretty common. I don't see any real rare crafting stuff. It really makes it worth coming down here, though. I mean, the loot chests are cool, but I doubt those respawn. And it leads outside. I don't know if this is an area we couldn't get to otherwise. It looks like the lake. That looks like the Fade Rift out there. It is. We have the shore. That gives us something to explore next time. Alright, well that is our keep, and we will head off and go look for the ward and see what other trouble we can get into here. Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button over my head. On my videos, click the boxes on the left, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.